welcome to fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. So, hey, everybody, welcome. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. Richard will also be here at some point if his internet complies. He is currently in Dallas, Texas. Hi, so we're here to discuss something really exciting. This is kind of a last-minute addition to the schedule as of yesterday. 20.2 in terms of version number just dropped, basically an update to the new FileMaker 23. And with it came something really awesome, a really new object called layout calculations, which is really quite cool. I have Nick here to talk about it in the variety of ways that you can use it, as well as what it is and how you can use it and all that wonderful jazz. It's like the first time we've had a new layout object in literal years. So it has put the entire community in quite the kerfuffle in a good way. So, I think I'm going to skip the training schedule for the moment because it's not important, really. For people who are like, man, where's the beginner series you guys are doing? We'll be back with that on Monday. So come back for Monday to continue and resume our beginner stuff. But until then, Nick.
It is all my fault. It is all my fault.
Okay. Right? It is all your fault.
It is all my fault because a lot of people didn't understand how important or how big of a deal this object was. This layout object that we got, this new layout object as part of FileMaker 20.2. Nick, what did you find out today? Nick texted me this morning early because he's in Greece, right? Doing whatever people in Greece do.
I was mad all day because I was building a layout and I was building something for the customer and say, oh, I could use this there, I could use that there, I could, if I had the object I could do this, and then boom, and I had to go the old way, go to the schema, create a field or have a variable when with the calculation in the layout, I would have done that in boom.
So let me bring everyone up the speed here real quick. Yesterday we established as a reminder that Claris a couple weeks ago announced that they were essentially deforking their platform. For those of you, most of you are professional developers, or a professional developer, or you pretend to be a professional developer in your spare time. Whatever is totally cool. You're welcome here. We love you here at fmtraining.tv. Well, Claris had the FileMaker platform, which made sense. Then they decided to fork the platform, which made it like double as complicated as it was already. And then along the way, they realized that customers are confused. And so they essentially deforked it back together, what we call the FileMaker Unified Platform. So we kind of have left the place, gone to a place that kind of was confusing, and then we're kind of back to normal, I guess, if you want to call it that. So it's real quick as a recap of 20.2. The requirements for it are very similar to 20.1 with the additional idea that that it will support Mac OS Sonoma, which is, I think, just came out today. I think, well, at least came out on my computer today. It started asking if I wanted to update, and I'm like, no, hell no, not right now. Give it a couple months maybe. And so once again, your Windows requirements are here. As a reminder, on the server side, a lot of different server versions here. What's interesting about this is, once again, the Ubuntu long-term release support, LTS 2204 is the one that you probably want to be on if you can swing it. That's good as well. Lastly, compatibility. This is as a professional developer, you need to be aware of this as you talk to your customers, whether they're out of house or you're in-house. And that is, if you have a 20.1 or 20.2 client or server, it will talk to other client or servers that are all the way back to 19.4. So it won't go to a version of FileMaker like 18 or 19.2 or something. It might seem that's a little confusing. The reason it's confusing is that Claris decided to name all their products for like almost 4 years with 19 dot something on it. This is the spacing. So now Claris is more on this. This really should say 23 here, but they haven't figured that one out yet either. Hopefully they will simplify it so we have version numbers that match their marketing term. Claris will still call this FileMaker 23. All right, so the big feature on 20.2 is this calculation, on layout calculations. I'm going to quit sharing my screen. We're going to jump to Nick. We're going to pick up the conversation, Nick, on layout. So let's really quick summarize what it is without just kind of recap what it is, and then we can pick up, because some of you had great questions from yesterday. Let me state that this technology should work on if you want to download Pro on Mac or Windows or Go on your iOS device, the layout calculation object, or LCO, will work on Mac and Windows and Go no problem. You don't have to update the server, so you can upgrade your client fairly risk-free in the world of FileMaker. I would not update the server immediately. Some people were asking about that yesterday. The reason you would want to upgrade your server is, one, there's a bug fix in 20.2 that you want to take advantage of. Or two, you really want the layout calculation object, the LCO, you want it on WebDirect. And remember, WebDirect is not really a local client, it's a browser. So everything is processed on the server, which means the server has to be aware of what an LCO is and how to handle that. So yeah, so that's a situation where you'd have to update the server. The question is, what I always tell people is, you don't want to be the first person to install a new version of server. Okay. This has nothing to do with Claris. This is one of those sort of things. Like Apple sent me the new operating system. Hey, would you like to use a new Mac OS Sonoma? And I'm like, hell no. Like, how can I put hell no in giant letters? Because I don't want to be the person. Because if my computer goes down because FileMaker quits working, then I can't work on customer's project and I can't bill for my time. And when I sat there and explained that, I had a bunch of college students, we were always like the first ones to want to upgrade. It was the coolest thing to have the new stuff. But when you explain to them, if it quits working, you no longer have a job until you fix it. And it might take you 6 hours or a day. You might lose a whole day of pay because you had to have the latest one. As soon as you give people a financial explanation, they're a lot less excited to be the first one to install it. So just keep that in mind. So someone said, well, should we install it in a week or a month or whatever? I would let it settle out at least 4 weeks, right? Maybe, 8 weeks. It just depends, because there's a lot of updates going on and upgrades are coming more often. So I don't know that as many people are upgrading immediately. I don't know if we have enough test cases to establish that it's really reliable. I know Claris intends it to be reliable. They do their best job, but sometimes things slip through and no one picks up on it until someone from Kentucky decides it's broke and blown up, and they write a message about it, and we all find out about it. So just keep that in mind. I would go easy on the server update, but if you want to download 20.2 on your client, Mac or Windows client, for sure, do that. Have fun with that. Just make sure you still have access to the older clients on your computer. Okay. All right. So Nick is here. Go, Nick, go.
This layout calculation. So first, let's have a recap of what it is. So it is, as we have the possibility of merging a field. When you said insert, we can merge a field. Then we take the field, right? And then we have a text here, piece of text with a merge field, and then we can say state like this, right? And then we have the field. If I change this, that will change here. So that we have this on the same, on the same model. Okay, we can insert a layout calculation. That means we can calculate something. So it can be whatever you want, get current date, current date plus 10, for example, so you have a very simple calculation, right? And then we have this, right? So we have a text, so date plus 10 equal, right? We can do this, or semicolon. And then we have this, and now when I switch in browse mode, I have the result of the calculation. Date plus 10 is this. So we can merge, we can insert a calculation inside a piece of text in the layout. So that allows to do many things, right? But today yesterday and this morning I explored more about. I'm not going to explain what you can do with a car. I'm going to teach you how to drive a car, right? I'm not going to tell you what you can do with a car, because I don't want to tell you what you can do with this calculation. I'm going to show you how to use it. Okay. So, and then after that, you can do whatever you want in the calculation, because the calculation can be anything, right? So, but how it works and what you can do with it, right? How you need to use this, right? Is more important than what you can do with it. So
good.
Yeah, so I think so. So do you want to jump in, or do you want to, or do I continue?
Remember what I said, everyone, real quick, is that this is Claris had the platform was forked. They split the platform into the Claris platform and the FileMaker platform. And now they are essentially in the process of dissolving the Claris platform and keeping the salient, relevant pieces and adding them to the FileMaker platform, why we call it the Unified FileMaker platform. So you're going to see connectivity to Studio. You're going to see connectivity to Claris Connect. You're going to see things that are in FileMaker Pro that were supposed to only be in Claris Pro, but Claris, the management team at Claris has figured out that that's sufficiently confusing to cause people to not to want to buy it, right? And so if you're confused and you don't buy it, then they don't make money, and then they realize that's a bad thing. So that's why you're going to see things coming together and features, everything coming together in FileMaker Pro. It's the core of the application. It really is, and I think people just now are starting to realize that. So
the thing here, what we need to keep in mind, right, is those calculations are unstored calculation. So that means we cannot be rogue with this. We cannot be crazy, because, like I explained yesterday, as for tooltip calculation or hidden state calculation or function conditional formatting calculation, you can screw up your layout very, 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 very well, right? Okay, very badly. That means yesterday I did a test like this. I want to crash test this. Right? So I did a rogue, crazy calculation over 21,000 records, right? After 25 minutes of spinning wheel, I had to force quit the FileMaker, and I couldn't get to that layout without going there in layout mode and remove that calculation, right? So yeah, we can do crazy things. So be careful with this. So here the way I will use this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I will tomorrow, or as soon as I have FileMaker 20.2 available in the final state, I will use. I will put calculation on the side here, right? I will create calcs here on the explicit outside the layout, because they are performing also outside the layout, right? So I will put my calculation here, all the calc I need, right? Like, for example, here I have the sum of the quantity, right? Here I have another one that is, I'm getting the states, and I say, okay, pretty much if the state that I'm selecting here is part of the value list I have here, that means it's valid. If I put another state in that field, it's not valid. So this is what it's doing. And here I have another one. I'm testing, right, that the sum of the quantity that I have here, is superior or equal of 50. So I have another calculation. But here you can see what I'm doing here. I'm calling a calculation that is on another layout calculation. So that means here I'm calling that calc, the result of this one, to have another one. So I don't want to have two times, the calculation like this. For example, I don't want to have this situation where I need the sum, the total of the quantity that I have here. And at the same time, I need another calc that says this, right? So is the sum of the item quantity superior or equal to 50? Because in that case, FileMaker will evaluate this calc and this one as well. So it will do two times the sum of the item, right, of the quantity. It will do two times. So that is draining your performance. You do twice. So imagine that you want many times, you need to call that calculation. You want to call the result of that calculation on other calcs, right? and you have to do it again and again and again. After some time, you have 15 times the sum of the quantity, and is useless to do that, right? It's not a good practice. So I came with a missing piece, in my opinion, here, right? I came with a custom function that you can use for, and the custom function is this. I want to use this get layout object attribute because this function, right? I can go to an object and pick the content of the object. So let me explain how it works first, okay? This get object layout attributes. So if I have here, let's say I have a button here, right? So I have a button. So I need to name the object. I need to put a name on the object to be able to point to the object, okay? Here I have a quantity. Here I have the test state, and here I have the test quantity, okay? So this is the name I put on the object. Then I can go and use that get layout object attributes. But you see, when you use that function, you have plenty of stuff here. And let's say I'm pointing this to an object. So I get the layout object attributes, and I point to the quantity objects, right? And I want the content. So he said 105. This is a total I have here, right? If I go browse mode, I have 105 total, right? So the calculation is here outside, right? And I can go and pick the result of this object. As well, because maybe you don't know that, here I have a button, right? I have a button, step dialog, right? And I name the button here. And I can go and I say, okay, what the content of this button? Okay, step dialog. So the get layout object attributes will go and take the content of an object. Whatever the object, it will get the content.
I understand you're doing it this way, but can't you define a global variable with a let function and have that value be in that global variable then?
There?
If you have a let function, like in the middle there, the let function.
Let's do it. So I'm editing this. That's something I want to try, but I didn't. So I have a test variable.
I mean, if you can run a let function, you should, by definition of the way this works, you should be able to define a global variable that stays after this fires, right?
Yes.
Now, someone asked yesterday about local variables. That's a test question, at least on the old certification test. You cannot let functions can use a local variables only live inside of a script. Understand these are calculations that never live inside of a script. They live at the layout level, right? Not in a script.
But I'm going to explain how you can get that inside a calculation, inside a script very easily. So we can do that way.
Okay.
But that will put a lot of pollution. I call that pollution because I want the result.
What variable pollution?
Yes, it's a pollution because it is there. So I have it. So if I change this, I put 100 here and it does what I expected. It doesn't update. I need to refresh this in order to, I don't even know if I refresh if I refresh.
Okay, wait. Okay, hang on. So it was there. This is showing us. So the calculation reran.
I need to go, it doesn't, because, okay, let me explain. It is on the layout level, right? So if I change it, so I don't even know how I can, because it got me the first when I maybe if I put that on the layouts,
what's off the lay. That's another thing. I got a question. A layout calculation object works if it's off the layout.
Yeah. Okay. Let me explain this. So, and it doesn't really work very well, because even if I have this, it gets the last one. It gets, I need to, it get the last one. So you need to go back Yeah, this won't work very well. It doesn't. It takes some. It's weird, how this will behave. Okay, so how the calculation outside of the explicit area, because this is what we call that explicit
So you're saying
area.
that the variable's not reliable.
No.
Hey, Nick. You says the variable's not reliable, but getting the layout object attribute content is reliable?
Yes.
Okay.
Very. I'm going to demonstrate. So let's get rid of this. How the calculation outside, that can be anything. Okay. Any calc you have on the layout level. Okay. And even if you have an unstored calculation, right? If you have a field unstored calculation, or if you have a layout object with a conditional formatting, or if you have a layout object with a hidden condition or tooltip, or now this new layout calculation, if you put outside, it won't be evaluated until something else calls it. For example, if you have a script step, right, that will call the field, for example, let's say you have an unstored calculation field, right? And the script said, oh, set variable with that field, and the field is outside of the explicit area, FileMaker will evaluate that field at that moment when you call the field. But by itself, naturally, those fields, everything, all the calc you put outside will be ignored, unless you call it by a script, by another calculation. Let's say you have another calc.
You call it as an object? Is that what you just said? I was typing.
You call it in a calc, in another field.
Okay. So you're saying that these outside right here will not do anything. Is that what you're saying? These right here, they have to be moved onto there before they work. Is that what you're saying?
No. Until you call it. If you call it, if you have something that, okay, let me finish my demonstration and then I'm going, that will explain. So for example, okay, here I create, so now we know how this works. We know how this works. We know how this get layout object attributes works. We need to put the name of the object and then whatever I want out of this object, because we have a tons of options here. I want the content. This is the relevant stuff.
Okay.
And okay, to not having to put all this BS there, I came with a nice and beautiful custom function that is much easier. Okay. So I said this, I said get layout calc and I name it. Boom. So I don't need to have this get layout object attribute quantity and then semicolon and then content. I don't need that.
Ooh.
The content, so I came with this. So now I can call that anytime. I call it. This object is outside, is in the explicit area, but I just call it. I'm calling it doing this. Okay. I said, FileMaker, evaluate that.
So when you say get layout object attribute and you target a layout calculation object, that calculation object will refire, or if it has not fired, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, it will, each time you call it in any ways, can be,
it'll refire. Okay.
Yeah, can be a script, can be a script parameter, can be a conditional formatting, can be anything that calls that object. Okay. Then the object outside will be evaluated. But if you don't call it, it won't drain your performance. You understand?
Yep.
Okay. So I am evaluating the sum of the quantity. This is where you have this is the hardest. This is the big one. Okay. That's a big calculation. But here I said, yeah, okay, get whatever this tells you, okay, what this returns, take it here and tell me if this is superior or equal to 50.
Okay.
Right? So that's what I want to know. So if I put that out here, this is what he said. He said, okay, this is the total. Okay. Okay. And why didn't, okay, hold on. Is it superior or equal to 50?
Go to the top one. What's the top one? What's the name of the top one? Click.
Quantity.
Okay, that's quantity there. Okay,
Yeah.
if it's greater than or equal.
Okay. It's funny because it works here. So now it doesn't work. Okay, cool. I've broken something, I think.
Well, you know, and like I said, this is kind of why it's a little bit of a 1.0.
That I knew something will happen like this during the demo, you know.
Hey, Nick, this is why you get paid the big bucks, baby.
Yeah, but if
It's hard. This is a hard job. You're demonstrating a brand new 1.0 technology. You should have seen the first time I went at DevCon. I demonstrated the SASE script that's like PSauce, the SASE one.
Yeah.
It was a FileMaker 11. It barely worked, and I mean barely. Now it's great, but
okay. So
okay.
now it works. Okay. This 86, it is superior to 50. So this return 1. It returned, yes, good. I'm good. Okay. If I put 1 here, it said no, because 20 is inferior to 50. So I have the total of the quantity here. And here I have a test. I have a test that said yes, no. Okay. So I made this. This calc is calling the result of this one. Then I don't have to calculate multiple times. So now I can call this one on many other things, right? So I can say, for example, here, I can say here, like if the test quantity, if the test quantity is not good, you know, if this is not good, if it's not, you know, if it's not superior 50, I said this is under the threshold. So I have a calculation that called that one, right? So the goal here is to explain to you, okay, that you can call the calculation. It's not just a stupid piece of text that you have on the layout. It's much more than this. So you can have many calculations here. You know, you can have as many as you want, okay? And then you can call them using the get layout object attribute if you want, or this custom function that I built, which is very simple. And you call the object you need, and then you can reuse it. For example, okay, here, Texas, New Mexico, but if I put Arizona, boom, oh, state not allowed, right? So I have this coming here. So why? Because I have a test here, this test here, that tells me if the state I use here is inside the value list or not. Okay? And Arizona is not part of the value list. So if I put in the value list, I put Arizona. If I put that in the value list, immediately, boom, okay, boom, okay, it's good. It is there. Right? So that's the power of this, you know? That's the power of this, because it instantly he said, okay, yeah, now it's part of this, because those are unstored calculations. So I have the calc performing, you know, in that piece of text. I don't put this here. You know, I do my test, and then I can call it anywhere. I'm calling the result of this piece of this calculation. I'm calling it here. I say, hey, is the test is valid? If test state, okay, is valid, okay. If it's valid, put state. Otherwise, put state not allowed. You know, that's what I'm doing here, right?
All right. So Stu has a comment like this. He goes, "This is like a visible variable, a quote visible, like visible with the eye variable, almost like local variables, but only available while the layout is open. Name of object is the name of the variable, right? That kind of idea."
Okay, yeah, but I don't like the analogy. First of all, you don't want to have 2 billion variables here, right? Because if you put everything there at one point.
No, I know he's saying it's like a variable, though.
Yeah,
right?
It's like a variable. Yeah, but it's yes and no, because as you point out, a global variable is available across all the layouts and across all the solution, across all the tables, across
layout pollution. Or variable pollution. Yes. So
yeah. Okay, but here. Here, the result.
I had not heard that one before. That was a good one, Nick.
The result of the calculation is available only for that layout. at that moment for that user. Okay. So it's for that layout. If I'm going out of the layout, the calculation is no longer available. But we don't care because most of the time we just want to show something, right? Or if you need somewhere else, you can do this. I click the dialog and say, okay, oh, this state is allowed. Or I can say if I put some another state, give me a state like Washington. Okay. So Washington, or state not allowed. So if I do my test script here, I click here and I say, oh, Washington is not allowed. I take the calc from here and then I transport it on the layout. Well, on the like I do here, right? Like I do here. So the calculation, the result of the calculation that you pick is available only there. Is available only in that layout for that record.
So David Angel, so David Angel says this demo is interesting. The object inside the layout calls immediately without refreshing a calc from outside. Yeah, so by him calling the get layout object attribute content, it's triggering the calculation to run.
Yes.
I mean, part of me wonders, because I'm a very simple person, part of me wonders like why the extra abstraction of parking them off the screen, because you could park it on the screen and then just put the calculator. Otherwise, we're doing a lap around.
I was explaining this, that I'm using the result of this. I'm using here. I'm using
So that way, so we calculate it once, so we don't got it.
Okay. That's the goal. And it otherwise, if you need something very simple, you put the calc there. Yeah, of course. If you need one spoof, you put the calc there. Boom, that's it. You can do that. But the demo I'm doing here, right, is to avoid to screw up your layout, and it's to show you a way. I mean, a very interesting way to use this to put all the calc you want, all what you need here outside, because you don't want to fill your layout with calculations, right? So you put all the calc you need on the side, and then you call them when you need them.
You should present on this at DevCon. You should present on this one specifically. But
yeah, because the basic usage of a field is you have like a zone. You have an area on the layout where you can fill text inside. That's the definition of a field. But that's only what you can do? No, we can do much more with a field, right? Here it's the same. Yes, you can just put something very simple on the layout using a calculation. Okay, you can do whatever you want like this. Very, very simple. You can do this. Or you can have like this one, right? You can have more evolved calculation, right? And call them when you want, and you can create a calculation. Say, okay, I need that result. Okay, put your calculation there. You put on the side, because it's not used. It's not meant to be seen. It's not meant to be seen. It's meant to use you, to help you get a result to do something else. These layout calculation are not only meant to show something on the layout. They can be used for much more than this. And this is the best application I came with the last days, because this, I will use that all the time. I will use that really. I will remove all my calc that I have on the schema. I will remove them, because this is much more flexible and easier to use than to manage database and create a field, put the calculation here, open this, put the calc, validate, and then you have the field. Right?
I agree. That I absolutely agree with. I absolutely agree with that.
Okay, so here, I need a calc. Boom, you put the calc, you put on the side, and then let's say I need this. Let's say I need this in a script, for example. Okay, I need this in the script here. Okay, so I'm putting the script, right? And I say, okay, this is the test, and I'm going to show show dialog, for example, show dialog, and I say, okay, I want the get script parameter. If I can write correctly here, okay. I have like this, okay. So I'm doing this and items, okay. So I have a script and I want to send the result of this calc I have in the layout, and I want to send that in the script. So test script, perform script, my test, and I say, okay, I want the get layout calc, and I want the quantity. This is my parameter. So now I go there, I have 20 items. If I change this, I have 53 items. So I send the result of a calc that I have in the layout, I send to a script via a script parameter. So I can use, so the goal, yeah, of course, I could have said this, I could have said this. The sum, I want the sum of the item. I could have said this. Of course I could, but it's the same. But this calc here, it's available only for that parameter. So here is when you need a calc for something else and for many things. You want to use it twice, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, you have the results. Do you understand the goal here, right?
No, I'm here. I'm actually watching questions pop up and stuff like that. No, I get it, Nick. I think we're discussing how you should put in for this for DevCon. Everyone agrees that you're in your element, figuring out new stuff to do with new features in FileMaker. You're really good at this. There's a question from YouTube. Margaret, you want to pitch that one?
From Figured is Fondo. Oh no, I'm late. I'll watch it from the start tomorrow. But is this similar to the calendar? I mean, the whole concept.
What we're talking about is very similar to a merge field. A merge field where you put, it's like, Nick, just for fun, go to layout mode and show where you put insert a merge field and what that is. That is where this was originally came from. So it's the idea of using text insertion on a layout to do something kind of unusual. This is a calculation object, a block of text on a layout that's a calculation. It is its own calculation without any dependencies on scripts or other fields or things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Nick,
just for the reminder, we can insert a date symbol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a calculation right there. That's absolutely a calculation.
Yeah. This is a get function.
That's a get function. Exactly.
Okay.
So these have been in there for a long time. These have been in there for a really long time.
So you see, it says the following available symbols are the same as the parameter in get function. That all the get function. Okay.
Yeah, but that's just a calc. This is the calc.
It's a calc. It's a calc. Like the layout name here and the found count. So you can say, okay, contact free. I have free records. So we can merge a get function. We can merge a text. We can merge a variable, and we can merge now a calculation.
Okay, so I'm going to pivot to the next question. So Stu asked a question. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I think it's worth hitting again. Would you consider using and then so Nick, you have your answer here, and then I'll have my answer. There's 2 slightly different answers here. Stu's question is from yesterday, would you consider using this for an on-the-fly summary field, or would you still use some old school summary fields within the FileMaker defined fields?
Yeah, I answered that yesterday, but I can answer.
Go ahead and answer it again because Stu didn't hear you the first time.
Okay, no problem. Summary. So we talk about this field, right? We talk about those, right? The summary.
Yes.
The summary like this. Okay, those are very useful. They have a very special behavior. We can do crazy things with this, but most of the time nowadays I will use another way to do this, much faster and more reliable, with more control, using PSOS, and do that on server.
Okay.
So that will be what I will do. I will do this, for the summer. I won't use this for for summary field. No, I won't, because
Okay.
that is a reason, that is a way to screw up your layout, by the way.
Yeah. So for me, we do this in starting point real quick, Stu. And so Stu probably knows this, but I'm answering this for everyone else. Just hold right here for a second, Nick. If you have a summary field on here, every time this screen displays, it's going to calculate this, right? A lot of times in starting point, not light, but the standard starting point of the enhanced, what we do is we take where you'd have like a summary down here, and it'll be a number field. And then right next to it will be a little button that says update. And when it says update, it can either go to PSOS or it might reference over here off the side of the screen the summary field, but it's off screen. So it's not calculating, but you can grab the value and have it if you could script it to have it grab the value, calculate it, and bring it back. The idea being that if the person says update and then they see a delay happening, that at least they know why it's happening because they press that button and things are happening. You can make this faster by pressing the button, having it go out to the server and come back, right? So your server's down that way. That's PSOS, PSOS, right? And this is like what I would call local, right? I need to draw better, but you get the idea. Just putting a summary field right on the layout is instant death unless you've got a very small database that will never grow, okay? So, yeah.
Exactly.
And so for brand new people, if you're a beginner and you're missing the beginning training, once again, we picked that up on Monday. However, if you're a brand new beginner, put the summary field on the layout, define it, make it work, put it on the layout. It's fine. Because you're a beginner and you're just trying to get things to work. But as you become more of an intermediate developer and you're building solutions that are in use by 30 or 40 people and you've got 1 million records in there, then dropping the summary, you might see some slowness on this, right? Little slowdown, right? And people may not like that. That's where you address that. But as a beginner, you're just trying to get this to work at all. And so you have to set your expectations for what you are. So Megan, when you're training the new person, and Megan's like this intermediate developer, she's training a brand new person. You're not going to train them on PSOS and SASE and sending all the stuff off the server. It's just too much for their brains to handle at the beginning, right? Understand? So just have them drop the summaries on here. You can't go from 0 to senior engineer. You have to go through the process of learning the basics and then also learning while the basics get you in trouble and then learning how to improve your performance based on that. We all try to just jump to the end like, I'm a pilot and I'm just going to jump to being an instructor at Top Gun because I'm a bad. For you to get all the way to being an instructor at Top Gun, you had to put 15 years in at least to get that far along. Okay. You don't have any 24-year-olds who are instructors at Top Gun. Okay. You have to learn what worked, learn what didn't work, almost kill yourself 4 or 5 times in the jet, I'm sure. Do deployments in the Navy off the aircraft carriers, shoot live ordnance. Then maybe you get invited to go to Top Gun if you're a good instructor, good trainer. So it takes a while. So understand that Nick is giving you advice. A lot of this advice is at the intermediate and advanced levels, right? For beginners, go easy.
Okay. So we have questions. I would like to get to the questions real fast if we can.
Let's do questions, Mark. Go.
Okay. So the calendar question that we had earlier is actually referring to the calendar kit that RCC sells. Does this work with the calendar kit, I guess was the question. I'm not quite sure. There might be, I don't know what you're referring to exactly inside of the calendar kit, Fondo. It's not been updated to work with layout calculations, if that's what you're asking. But I don't think
layout calculations is a new piece of, okay, back up, stop for a second. The calendar kit fundamentally is a web viewer, okay? Which is, when Nick is drawing stuff over here, he's not in a web viewer. This is not, when you do a calendar kit and you're looking at the calendar from Full Calendar IO and it's a calendar in the months and the days and the years, you're in a web viewer. We're not in a web viewer over here. We're in a regular FileMaker layout without a web viewer. And so we're talking about adding objects to a layout that's not inside a web viewer. If you want to, that's all this is, right? So I don't know what to say. So.
Okay. Does this work with portals? Or rather, does this work in portals, the layout calculation?
Depend what you do. Yeah, okay. Good question here. Let's do something.
Put something in there. Put it in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to do something here. So I'm going to here and I say quantity, and let's do this. Here, 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 and here. Okay, so I'm putting a symbol here. So let's see if it works. Yeah.
There you go, Alex. That works.
So
Next,
you can, yeah,
sorry.
you can, you can do, let's see if we can say, quantity plus 10, so let's see if it's, yeah, 20, 12, 13, yeah. So
Yeah. So it can work. Like I said, this is a 1.0. I would hope that someone at Claris Engineering would get this live stream and notice where we're stumbling around and maybe provide guidance or fix some bugs or something. But yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Next question. I have doubts about how maintainable this kind of stuff would be. How does a dev coming behind you decipher how some chain of layout calcs referencing each other works? On layout documentation? Question mark.
Yes, there you go. I was about to say documentation, but and just so you know, when I even in my systems without this, like our internal systems at RCC, and we got consultants, and they put time in, and they always complain that the internal databases are not good enough, or nice enough, or fancy enough. But if you go to layout mode or even in browse mode, there'll be huge columns of comments by the developer who worked on it, who explains how the business process works and how underlying the hood goes. And so I will have huge sections of comments, like Nick has right here. If he goes to the right a little bit, he has the off-screen area, and that's where I would put the comments off-screen.
How to put a comment on the layout. This is the comments. So I like to do this. So I'm putting I'm putting like a yellow and like a sticky note, right?
Yeah.
Like a sticky note like this. So I have this like this, I'm putting that center. So you have the sticky note here, right? And then, but I want this on the layout, but I don't want to see it. I want to see it in the layout mode. So I'm, and boom. I don't have in browse, but I have in layout mode. And I can have plenty of comments here.
Margaret, do you have BVA open? Go find that calc in there for that. And I'll explain to you what I do, a variation of this. What I will do is when I'm in browse mode sometimes, whoops, I lost everything.
Well, because you want me to
you're
show
going to
this
show
off,
it? Okay.
which
Yeah,
means I don't know quite what you're referring. Oh, this one. I see. Layout mode.
Yeah.
No, wait. I wanted to be. Hold on. I want to be work orders.
Margaret's been working on this project.
Layout mode. Is it in here?
Hamburger right there. Click on that. If you can get the hamburger to pop up, double click.
Oh, it's mad at me.
What I like to do is when I write a piece of code, I will document, like, this is a button, but I want to know what script it runs because I number the scripts. But I don't want that to be seen by everyone. So the same kind of thing I do, you go to that one more, Margaret, that one, and you go down to hidden. And I say this calculation right here is the way I do it, is if the account is not, it's hidden if you're not full access. If you're full access, then it shows these little notes on screen, even in browse mode, right? It's another way of on-screen documentation, right? That way, it's kind of junky on my screen, but at the same time, I know if that button isn't working, I know what script to go to without trying to reverse triage, right? And I put these all over the place. And Margaret decided that was okay. Yeah, you like that because you came behind me?
Yeah, no, that makes it a lot easier when I can just like write down the number I'm looking for and then go hunt for it.
So, yeah. All right. So back to Nick. What other questions we have? So Nick's that one's good. Only shows you in layout mode. The comment, you could have it only show based upon security privilege, full access.
Someone yesterday brought up, which Nick talked about earlier, but I don't know if it was actually caught on stream, so I'll repeat it. Basically, if you rename underlying fields, the layout calculation doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. Nick, you want to talk about the way it works right now with that? So
yeah, it works like so I don't want to do it because it will break the solution. But if you rename a field, so or if you rename the field, it will break. You need to name back the field like it was.
So if you change it, if you do a bunch of stuff and you do a table name change, because in the calculation it'll be whatever they call an absolute reference or a complete reference, but you'll have the table name, the 2 colons, and then the field name. If the table name changes, it doesn't retroactively fix these text calculations that are on screen, these layout calculation objects. I don't know if it could be made to do that. If you did that, how much work that would be? How hard would it be, right?
Because if you merge a field, let's put the last name. If you merge a field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put here, okay. If you merge a field and you go and you rename the field, merge field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still work. And it's renamed.
Go to layout mode. It changed it. So they could do this. Might be a bug that they need to add or fix or something. That's interesting.
This is, that's why I'm very surprised that they let that, because this rename a field, or that's something we do very often. I mean, imagine that you rename a table and boom, all your script is over. It's the same,
Yeah, Stu agrees with you. Being able to rename fields or anything is one of the more powerful features of FileMaker. They need to fix this.
Yeah, and even that, if you rename the field, right? And you rename the field, even the field label is renamed. See, here is broken. See, because I'm calling the last, here is broken. Now see here is broken. If I go back here, I put the last like it was before. Boom, you come back.
Yeah, so whatever the process is for when they exit the script field definitions and they do a layout check or layout inspection, they need to look at doing this.
Okay, so this is a question from yesterday, but it might be good to repop on, just people ask. Couldn't we already do this sort of thing with a single rep button bar?
Yeah, but that's the point, So
we kind of covered that yesterday a little bit, but yeah.
But I don't. Yes and no. Yeah, yes and no. Because I demonstrated yesterday that you cannot do that. There's things you can do with this that you cannot do with button bars. So let me explain again. Yeah, you can go there, put a single bar button bar. Okay. Oops. So you have a single bar. Okay, a single button on the bar. Okay, and you can put a calculation here. Okay, you can do this. Okay, boom. You have the calculation. It's there. Okay, yeah, you can do that, but that's it. Now, for the button, okay, you can do that. You can have plenty of button bars on the you can do that. Yeah, you can. But what you cannot do with the button bar is something like this. This equal this. This equal this. See? Because this is text. This is a text. In a button bar that I explained yesterday, you cannot add text. It's a calc. So you need to go and say, quote, so what I say here, test state %, then say choose, like I do here, and then go again. So you need to go, you need to do this as a text in a calculation. Here, you don't need that. And of course, you cannot do a formatting like I'm doing here. Here, look the formatting.
Which to me is a bigger deal. That's the bigger issue.
That's the bigger issue. In the button that you can have, you click on the text tool, you select this, and you change the color of this, right? And then you go there, and you change the color of this, right? So you cannot do this in a button bar unless you go with the color text function and the RGB values, and it's very complicated. Then this is super easy. You understand the difference here?
Yep, that's a good one. All right, well, we're wrapping up today. Monday, we're going to pick up the beginning training for everyone.
Something else, something I want to add in, before we go. Okay, as a senior engineer developer that I'm spending my life doing FileMaker, right? I'm going to use that like crazy, right? And just I touch a little bit of this, right? Yesterday and today, and I was working today with in the file with a 20.1, and I didn't have this. and I was mad, right? It's at that level, you know. So it's like if you don't have copy paste in the script, it's the same thing, you know. You cannot go back when you use this, you know. So that my impression of this. So to me it's a big deal. Because sometimes we need a calc right now, boom, it's there, bam. You know, I don't need to go and manage database, create the layout, the field, and put the calculation, make sure it works. Because hold on, something I didn't mention and I want to mention is this. We have this function that I love and I use and abuse, is show sample data. Bam, and you have the results in layout mode. In layout mode. Okay, so I know my calc is working or it's not working. I can do,
and it shows you from the first record of the found set.
Show for the current record you are.
Oh, the current. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool, because if you're there in that record for hours and you don't know why your freaking script is not working, okay. As of today, I was going to the data viewer and I was going there and I was going click plus and I was putting my calc here, and I need to have all those windows open to have the result of my calculation. Now I don't need that anymore. I want to test something, and in layout mode, okay, dialog. I want to know if the get current date, you know, or you know, and that I have the result right away because I am in layout mode and I say show sample data. And then I know, yeah, okay, I'm good. It's working. You know what I mean? I'm in layout mode. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't create any field. I didn't create any variables. You know? So no, it's a game changer. It will save me hours every day in working, debugging and stuff like this, right? So that's huge. This sample data here, and you have the result of the calculation in the layout directly without even, you know, in layout mode. That is super good. This is super huge.
I think we're good at this point. Anything else? So Monday we pick up with beginners, right? Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Not tomorrow. One day.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.